Nevada Unified School District Board meeting on July 20th. It is 6 o'clock, and we're moving into open session. So I'm going to, pardon me, do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pardon me, I'm Pledge of Allegiance. Here we go. It's not that hard, Ross. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. The next item number 6, is announcement of reportable actions in closed session. With the clerk of the board report?
Sure. So for item 3B, with respect to every item of business to be discussed in closed session, public employees discipline, dismissal, release, it was informational only. And item 3C, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9, Subdivision D1, name of case, Coalition to Save San Marin versus Nevada Unified School District, Marin County Superior Court Case number 1702295. The board gave direction.
Thank you very much. We're moving to item number 7, which is the approval of the order of business for this evening. So I need a motion to approve the agenda as published. Moved by Trustee Aguilar and seconded by Trustee Jacobson. So all in favor of the order of business for this evening's meeting? 7 in favor, none opposed. I note the student trustees are not with us this evening. School hasn't begun, so they're not joining us. So the next item is public comment on consent agenda, right? Public comment on consent agenda. The consent agenda is item 12. Item 12. So there's multiple items there. Is there any comments on consent agenda items? Anybody? Any public comment? Hearing none. Do any of the trustees want to move? We're going to move to approval of the consent agenda.
We do have an addendum or change.
Oh, we do? Thank you. Could you
12D.
Could you identify that for?
It's the approval of the employment agreement for the interim superintendent. For the board members to know, there's a green copy.
Okay. At your place, there's a green copy with a couple of corrections. Is any? And if everybody's had a chance to look at that, then we'll move to move forward. Okay. So I'm going to ask for approval of the consent agenda. We move all the items on the consent agenda, which is item A through item I. Second by Trustee Aguilar. All in favor of the consent agenda, all of it. We got 7 votes in favor, none opposed. The items on the consent agenda are approved. Non-agenda.
So I just wanted to add,
Sure.
Since we've just approved the consent agenda, within there, we want to welcome Dr. Derby. We just approved you as the interim superintendent, and so happy to see you. And just say that the board will receive additional information from staff in September about next steps. So thank you for being here.
I'm delighted to be here.
Welcome.
Okay. Non-agenda public comment. Is there any comment from the community on items not on the agenda? I hear none. And so we are now meeting in the room, so we are physically here. So hearing none, we're going to move past the non-agenda public comment and move into non-agenda. Is there board comment on a special meeting? I guess there's not. There is not. Okay, good. Discussion. So we're moving straight into discussion action. So the first item is approval of the Visual and Performing Arts Facilities Manager. Dr. Derby, do you want to introduce the superintendent?
Our new CFO is here, and delighted to be here as well. We've been working on trying to get a job description taken care of, and it's really important that we have these fabulous facilities and that they're well taken care of. And so that's what we're bringing forward tonight. So you'll see the job description and Barbara has worked on it too, our assistant superintendent for HR, and Lois and Mike, and Melissa. So lots of people working together, and that feels really terrific. I want you to know that.
It has been a joint effort. It was one of the first things that came to my attention when I started here. We need to get this done, so for the start of school. So we have all worked together to come together with this job description. It is meant to be someone who will work between both sites, and they will work under my direction, thinking of it as a predominantly a facilities position to help protect our valuable investment, but there will also be a portion that works with students and helps promote the centers within our community, was the thought behind that. It's a supervisory position meant to work with, as we progress, possibly assistants, training students to use all of the lovely equipment we have there, and helping them to be able to help out with whatever productions we have at the site level and or at used by the community. So any questions that you have about the job description that you saw in your packet?
Trustee Butler, Trustee Gasson.
My question is, in regards to, was this a boilerplate? Had you seen it at another district?
Part of the research was to first find districts that had like facilities. There were several, and I looked at 5 different ones, and this was the one that felt the closest to Novato, but there were pieces from a few different job descriptions.
That's helpful. The other question is, we used to have a facilities coordinator position here who ran all of the facility, multipurpose room, whatever, any facility we had to rent, a field, a multipurpose room, a gym, they oversaw all of that, tennis courts, anything. We've eliminated that position in the last few years. Will this person be handling any of that, or is it strictly
No,
performing
this is
arts?
strictly for the performing arts, the
So
two
I think that
centers.
that might become an issue at some point, where this person might be taking under other duties, but we got to make sure that they are clearly designated as visual and performing arts. I just can kind of see, because we used to have that position, and I don't know who's doing that
And what
now,
did
to
that
be honest
person
with you.
do?
What did they do?
Mm-hmm.
They handled all the renting of the facility. If somebody wanted to rent a facility.
Okay, so we have Facilitron, an online system right now, and Trevor, and I'm sorry, I don't know his title, he works under Tony Albini.
Yep.
He is in charge of that.
Okay, that's good to know. I actually didn't know that. Okay.
Trustee Gasson?
I got moved up to doctor, huh?
Hey, lucky you.
So I'm just going to, I have several questions, so I'm just going to give them all at once, and I know you'll have the answers. So the first thing is, I think because we've been looking at so many positions and trying to find cost savings, I think the first thing that hit me is it's a really high salary. So I have a question about the salary range. Also, if it's one person for 2 sites, how, hopefully we'll have use by the community for both locations, the logistics around that. Does it make more sense to have 2 different people? Or, I can see if there's one person, then that leads to, okay, we don't have somebody this particular day. We're going to need an assistant for this job role. I don't know. I mean, in my head, I'm thinking, hopefully we'll be so busy and people will love using it, but how does one person be at 2 different locations? And then the third, was there ever a consideration to maybe try outsourcing through an agency that actually does this for, for their job?
That's an interesting question. No, there was not any consideration. That never came into our minds, that there might be someone who does that. So we could certainly look at that also and see. My general experience is it's much more expensive to outsource, that people, when they get in that position, they charge quite a bit more than people get paid. But who knows? I mean, my experience with that has to do in the special ed arena. If you can't hire a speech and language pathologist, you're paying a lot more for them when you're using them as a consultant. I think to answer your first question, we talked a lot about what this position should be, and the technology in those 2 theaters or 2 spaces is exceptionally complicated. And what what you see as the salary, I looked at the other districts, and this is on the lower side of what the other districts pay that person. Now, granted, it's some of the more wealthier districts that have some of those theaters and have those positions, but it's still someone, we want someone who has had experience and knows theaters and knows equipment and knows how to do this and can hit the ground running. If we'll find this person, I don't know, and then we'll have to get back to the drawing table and figure out what we're going to do. But that was the intent as we put it together. Now, I missed one. What did I miss?
It was just being able to have one person oversee both sites. But I think when I had an earlier conversation, it sounds like we have some other people that can fill in support. I just can't imagine one person, if we've got two different events, being able to be at two different locations.
And if we are so lucky to have that situation, we will figure it out.
Or it sounds like there's people that we have
Yes.
within. I mean, I've heard there was something else you had told me that made it made more sense.
And they will also be training people to help
Right, okay.
work the equipment.
Thank you.
Can I just, I'm sorry. There's a class at San Moran, and Haley, I hope that you're going to speak to that when it's your turn. But I think it's important to have that opportunity for our kids to learn the tech, because many of the kids aren't actors or actresses or singers or whatever, but they're so skilled and talented with tech that we need to honor that. So I just, yeah.
Couple things. First, I want to just talk about chain of command. So this role reports into Tony?
To me.
To you directly, okay. And then...
Greg, speak a little closer.
Closer.
We're
Okay.
missing you. Thank you.
So chain of command reports into you. Okay, that helps. Thank you. And then more along those lines, in terms of chain of command, if they get pulled in different directions, the site leadership wants him or her to do one thing, and you and the folks who are managing the long-term life of the facility want to do another thing, I'd like us to make sure we have real clarity when the principal needs to back off, as an example. Or the drama teacher, as an example, perhaps. Those sort of things. So that it's really crystal clear who owns this, especially when it comes to our investment in that. And I'm not sure what examples there might be, but just crazy things happen. So.
Well, and just to help explain the complexity of the position, as Barbara and I talked about it and said, who should this person answer to? It was a conversation. It was going to either be myself, and she didn't even know it, but Jen would have been the other person.
Surprise.
Because there's an educational piece definitely here. But we decided that the facilities piece probably wins out as far as the majority of what this position is. But I agree completely, and we come up against the same idea with the custodians. They work at the site, and they're under the principals, but Tony also has a big say in how they do it, and we sometimes have conflicts about who want, what they want those people to do on any particular day.
Okay. And then in terms of outside rentals and that kind of stuff, so I know the system used to be called School Dude, I think, or is that gone now, and now it's the new one? Okay. Oh, for
School
changes.
Dude is for work
okay,
orders.
Got it. But Facilitron. So, but these two facilities will be run through that. It's just that person will be the approver of those requests, or is it going to be a separate
I think Trevor
system?
will still approve them, but they will be, they're like the sites, it goes through the sites first. The sites have to look at their own calendar and say, is this going to be all right? So this person would, as I see it now, but we need to work with the sites. Once this is approved, we're going to talk with each of the sites and figure out what works best.
Right.
For the process at each of those sites.
I just want to say I fully support this. I totally understand what you're saying. This is a big, big, big investment. These two buildings together represent what, Russ? Close to 20% of the entire Measure G budget.
Bunch.
Yeah, so anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Other questions from trustees? We have a comment card from Haley McFadden, so we'll take her. Good evening, Haley. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, everybody. Thank you.
You're the mic check for that mic.
Oh,
so
mic check,
if
1, 2.
somebody runs out, yeah.
We good?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm Haley McFadden. I teach drama and technical theater at San Marin right now. Thank you so much for having me and allowing me to do this. I just wanted to take a minute and touch a little bit on my perspective because I'm just learning about this, as it's obviously a new thing, of course. So just learning about it, I had so many thoughts and questions, so it's nice that you all had questions as well. But I'll get to my point. So some things that I did want to touch on is the technical theater class that has been a long-standing, very successful class at San Marin that I now teach. And those students are taught how to use that expensive
great.
equipment and use it for all the productions and use it safely and effectively. And I just want to say that I do so respect that someone is taking seriously the fact that we need to be really diligent about the use of it, because I think that's so important, of course. But all of this to say, from a teacher's perspective, and the program that I have tried to create there, I do direct 3 to 4 productions a year just in the drama department alone. And then music has several more than that between Emily Gates and Allison McIver. So that's like a total of 10 to 15 performances that happen a year. So we've already sat down and planned a calendar and whatnot. So something I just want to throw out there is that the teachers are very much involved in
That's great.
the job description even, because a lot of the items in the job description actually are handled by our boosters members right now. So things like marketing, things like program outreach and whatnot, those are things that we've been doing already. So I'm just curious how we would sort of alter our program. And I know it's not a time for questions, but that's just something I wanted
We'll
to
sit
throw
down
out
and
there.
figure that out.
Yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. And then the other thing I wanted to say, and of course I'm going to blank. You'd think for being a drama teacher I'd get up here and relax and know what I'm going to say, but here I am. So yeah, I think that was my main point, is that the technical theater class, I would really just want to make sure that the students have a chance to expand on their
That's why we're
technical
here.
knowledge in that. So,
Yeah.
all right, great.
We
All right.
look forward to your productions this fall.
Thank you, me too.
Have you got performance dates set yet?
Yeah, we do. We have performance dates, and shows are kind of, depending, titles anyways, are still being chosen. But yes, we have performance dates and for all the music and drama and everything. So we're excited to get in the space.
And you can get us that calendar, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be
has it.
really great for us to
Yeah,
have that to
absolutely.
take
I
a look
can-
at. And
sure.
I know they're planning to meet with the team, so I hope that you'll be there.
Yes,
It'll
absolutely.
be
I
great.
hope
And
so,
thanks for
too.
being here tonight. That
Yeah,
was really
sure.
great.
We're hoping you'll help on the hiring committee.
What's that? Sorry. I didn't
We're
know.
hoping you'll help on the
Oh,
representation
I would
will be
love
up
to.
for the hiring committee.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
That'd be wonderful.
All right, thanks everybody.
Good.
Sorry? Oh, I will. And, you'll see stuff on social media and all that, so I'll make sure to get it out.
That's wonderful.
All right,
That's
thanks,
great.
everybody.
Thank you so much for coming down. Any other questions from trustees? Trustee Butler?
Just a comment, in a time where we're trying to watch our pennies and what we spend, this is a general fund item. But as Trustee Mack said, it's definitely needed. We need this position. We have so much invested in our facilities, especially our performing arts centers. I think we can, though, recoup some of this as time rolls and we begin to look at who wants to use our facility. The rental fees
Correct.
can help recoup some of this. Not
That
a
is
huge
correct.
amount, but that is a way to look at it a little bit. So that's all.
So are we ready to, Trustee Nell?
I support the position, and I believe we're going to work it out. I think my point would be that I think this is going to add to somewhat of our responsibility to redo our policies and procedures. I don't see how the operation of these two theaters isn't going to create some issues that are going to have to come before us and have us set priorities and uses. So we might want to get started on that. And I hate to start bossing the interim superintendent around day one, but I think the board should.
We can
I
say
think
that she's already ahead of you. They've already been working on some of that.
That's
so-
good news, because
Yeah.
I think we should give some direction to the superintendent to start to review those policies ahead. And so maybe simultaneously, while we're looking for this individual, we have some idea what our policies are going to be.
I appreciate that, Derek. I've been worried about that as well, and you're getting it August 3rd. We're starting with the facilities use and with a new fee schedule, because our original board policy, the regs, were pending. They were never approved. So now what we need to do is get them approved and get them to the level that we need to recoup what Deb was saying. So I think that will work.
And I think we should all expect them to be somewhat flexible and/or have to address them more than once in the beginning or over a period of startup time.
So the recommendation in front of us says superintendent and staff recommend approval of the visual and performing arts facilities manager position and the job description. Is somebody ready to make a motion?
As a president, I'll move that we adopt the superintendent's recommendation to hire this position.
I'll second.
Thank you. And second by Trustee Aguilar, first by Trustee Nell. Any further discussion? If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor? 7 trustees in favor, none opposed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. This is pretty exciting. Haley, you should be dancing. I mean, this is...
There's a lot of questions I have, but I'm very excited that there will be somebody overseeing the detention.
At least if the equipment breaks, you got somebody to talk to. You know, if you show up with the students, that'd be great. The next item is review and approval of board bylaw updates in the 9000 series. And there's a packet at our desk, I believe. Let me see. I think I've written on the back of it. I have. Which is, so Dr. Derby, do you have some?
So,
Yeah.
as we were working with Mary Jane and the ad hoc committee, and then with the full board and on our board workshops, she made some recommendations to do some time changes to a 5 o'clock closed and a 6 o'clock open. If you are still in agreement with that, we have to change the board policy to match that. So that's what this is before you tonight.
This is really a time change for our board meetings, is really
Right.
what, it says bylaw, but it's really a discussion for us to talk about when do we start and end our meetings. So comments or? And the recommendation was to move the beginning of the meetings from 7 o'clock to 6 o'clock.
Right.
For public session, and for closed session from 6 o'clock to 5 o'clock. And that means for agenda planning, that has to occur in the time slot before that, for those trustees that are participating. That's, Trustee Gasson.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I mean, this has been something we've been talking about, and as one element to, listening to the community, that our board meetings go too long, that, we're not, we're going to look at the whole system. This is like the first step. And we'll talk as a board about additional things we may want to take a look at. So for me, I'm in agreement. We can do, we can move it earlier. My only hesitation or concern is thinking forward that whoever's in the vice president and president role starting at 4 is challenging for those individuals that have jobs or kids. Half hour doesn't make a whole lot of difference unless you're, starting at 6:30 instead of 6 might give a little bit more grace to somebody who would be struggling to get here at 4 for closed session, or not for agenda planning. But again, I'm open to either, but I just wanted to put that out there, that we are making steps to make the meeting shorter so we're not getting out of here super late at night, and I don't have to drink a 3-shot mocha before I get here. So first step, either way, but I just wanted to throw it out there that 4 o'clock for people in these 2 seats is a little challenging. So.
Comments or questions from the Trustee Mack?
This closer this time, sorry. I know before Chris left, he was talking a lot about really kind of revisiting the criteria we use to decide what is on the agenda, and maybe moving a number of fairly standard topics that are kind of, for lack of a better word, rubber stamps, to either non-agenda or to special sessions where we just knock all of them out at once or something like that. I highly encourage that. I think that's part of our issue. We're just cramming too much into our agendas, and that's why we're going so late. I'm okay with starting early, but I do see the problem that you just mentioned. It does effectively kind of bifurcate the board into those who have, 9 to 5s, and or 9 to 8s, maybe like Derek and myself occasionally. But and I'm okay with that. It's just I think we have to be aware of that. And also it effectively does kind of narrow the field for our leadership to who can handle being a president and vice president. So I'm on board with doing it this year, but let's just maybe keep an open mind on maybe going back after a year if it's turning out that it's problematic. I just think the bigger issue is tightening the agenda overall.
I think that's true.
To things that are truly merit conversation, merit potential discussion back and forth. If it's a rubber stamp kind of thing, and I know nothing is a rubber stamp, but for lack of a better term, if it's something that it's pretty straightforward, we should find an alternative way to get at
Dr.
it.
Derby, so Ellen has been great. She already came up with a way that we don't, we have resolutions that recognize certain celebrations of months, and so we're going to be, I think it's the next meeting or the meeting after, we'll be doing those in one resolution. And so we're not doing them separate for each month as they come. And that'll give us an opportunity to also, we'll recognize them, but there won't be a separate resolution for every single event, if that makes sense. So there are things in the background that she's working on that's been great. So I think to your point that those things will help make it not such a long evening for us.
Right, and if we make tons of progress, I'm sorry, I'll just finish. If we make a lot of progress in that regard, maybe we can just go back to 6 and 7 if we're regularly getting out at 9 or so.
Trustee Aguilar.
Oh, so yeah, I was just going to say I am in favor of doing the earlier times, and so that that is important too. But what's more important to me is so much not starting earlier, but not leaving so late. On the other hand, some of us who do have children, need to get home to the children or senior father that demands attention. So that is more of my concern too, because if we start an hour earlier, does that mean we're going to talk more for an hour? Or are we going to add more information?
Neighbors.
Or are we going to have more information to talk more about for an hour? So that's not. So the point is not so much starting earlier so that we can still leave at the later time, but I agree with what has been said, but just to tighten the agenda.
Do we have a motion to approve this as a draft? Okay, moved by Trustee Butler, pardon me?
I'm sorry, can I just mention something?
Okay.
Were you asking a question, Deb, or you were going to make a motion?
No, I've had a question.
Okay,
Oh.
no, then Deb's first.
Deb.
Yeah.
Please.
I would like to suggest, so it's a suggestion, under the regular board meetings where we're changing the shall be held at 6 p.m., that we change the shall to may. The board may hold 2 regular meetings each month. The regular meetings may be held at 6 p.m. on the first and third Tuesday at the district office. Shall sort of locks you into, you have to, and we don't. There are several months where we only have 1 meeting. So I should have caught this when we approved it in June for the law change, but, because we did originally have May.
Okay. So
That's all-
is that
that's all
okay?
I'm
That's the edit?
Yeah.
Okay, so if everybody accepts that edit, we're going to proceed with that is included. Trustee Aguilar?
Would the edit also be, we may also have special board meetings, weekend meetings, so in case.
Not what
That's
she
in the
said.
policy.
Okay.
Not what
So
she
as long as it's included, I'll make a motion.
Okay. Okay. Trustee
Sure.
Dr. Durden?
And I know this has been your regular thing, is to do the agenda planning at 4 and then start closed at 5 or 6 or whatever it was. But another option for you to think about is not having agenda planning on board meeting night. And it means you have to come in another night, because that's how we did it. Some people did it before work in the morning, and you probably remember that, several of you that were here. We do it at 7:30 to 8:30, or you could do it at 5 o'clock at the end of the day. But I think you have the flexibility of that, because I know all this back to back to back is tough too. So I just want you to know that there are options, and that you can determine that.
Sunday morning. I'm just kidding.
No, I wasn't suggesting that.
I know. So I'll make a motion.
Okay. Trustee Aguilar moved, including the edits, what
Yes.
Trustee Butler has proposed.
Correct.
In a second by Trustee Jacobson. Derek, Trustee Nell, you have a question? Okay. So all in favor? 7-0, good, done. Thank you very much. So we're going to try some new timing to see how that works. Board bylaws, 9320 meetings and notices.
We just did that.
We just did, okay, we're good, okay. Okay,
See, we started.
okay, so Dr. Derby has a couple of questions that she wants to ask us before we adjourn for the
Yeah,
meeting.
just about dates. Okay, because we haven't really tied down everything. August 5th is the district leadership retreat at my house. You're all invited. I hope you will all come. You don't need to stay all day if you're working, but you really do need to be there for the bocce tournament at 3 o'clock. So I just want you to be there. But you can be in the groups. We're not assigning you to groups, but because we don't know exactly who might be able to come and how long you want to stay. August 12th is opening day. It's going to be at San Marin at 8 o'clock to about 9:30. I would love to have you all there so that we can introduce you. NFT will do a welcome, and I hope by then we'll have CSEA. We had a really nice meeting with Janice Blair today, who came to talk to us about drama, but then we talked about CSEA too, because we're without a president right now, and hopefully that's going to get resolved. But opening day is really a day for all of us to be together, and it'll be just great. Is anyone still interested in a bond tour? Because Mike is willing. Oh, you're still here. Mike and Melissa are willing to take anyone. I'm not saying you have to go, but if there's anyone that would like to, they could establish a date, if there's anyone. Not right now.
Anybody like
crazy right now.
stucco?
We'll contact you, Mike.
Farmers Market, we need a few more people to sign up. I know a lot of you have signed up, but we have like 4 more dates that need to have a second person, right? Oh, 2 more dates? Okay. Ellen has the list, or Leslie does. The ad hoc committee is going to, that's Mary Jane's group that is helping to support us, is going to continue to meet with us monthly, which will be great. And so I think that it gives us an opportunity to let her know what help we do need and to talk about our progress. So I think it's a good thing. The Marin Community Foundation is providing $10,000 to each of the schools that have MCF grants for team building and bringing joy back into our lives in the school setting. And the DO, the district office, our team is getting $15,000. The good news is that a lot of our schools are getting it, but not Rancho, PV, Olive, and who did I forget? And San Ramon, because they don't have any grants from the foundation due to their population. So we're trying to figure out something right now about doing some sharing or including them in whatever we're going to do. And we will talk to their schools that are the feeder schools to see if they would include them too. So that's good. And the last thing is we're not going to be able to have our board workshop on August 14th because not every one of us can be there. So there are 2 dates that Walt and Sandra can do. One is August 28th and one is September 11th. So if you could check your calendars and let Ellen know, so that those are the 2 dates that what we gave. How many dates did you give Ellen? Like 4 dates to them, and the 2 that they had in common are August 28th and September 11th. And we may want to extend it beyond just 3 hours in the morning. We may want to have a little longer, maybe till 3 or something. You'll decide that, but we do need to get a couple things on the calendar before it starts getting filled up. That's it, Russ.
Okay, do you need to get back to Ellen, or do we have dates now?
I can't do the 11th.
You can't do the 11th.
I can do the 28th or the 11th, but the 28th.
Any other? 28th?
Maria?
28th? Everybody good on the 28th?
Good. Oh,
Okay,
we got a date.
so I think we have a date.
Put them all together.
This is the best way to do it.
Yeah,
It's all
yes.
at once.
Yeah.
It's just like easy
Got our
for you.
attention.
And
Okay.
before we adjourn and everyone leaves, there's something you guys need to say.
Right, we need Dr. Derby has authority, well, we gave her authority to sign, but we have to sign the piece of paper that actually records that fact. So we need you to sign before you walk out of here. And with that, I believe we're at the end of the agenda.
We are.
Okay, so this meeting's adjourned?
Yeah.
Hey, look at
See,
you guys.
7:30.
See? We're done. Okay.